right? The key thing you need to write down with the gatekeeper, you guys are I'm gonna fly through this because I have about an hour, but I want to give you some of the most important stuff. With a gatekeeper, one of the things you need to write down is disqualify yourself hard. Disqualify yourself hard as somebody that doesn't want to date her. So what I'll usually say to a girl that's a gatekeeper, I'll be like, wow, you were fucking amazing. I'll be like, you remind me of my best friend from high school. You remind me of my best friend Sarah from high school. Or I'll say, wow, you know what? You're awesome. I've got to hook you up with my friend Mike. You would love him. And Mike doesn't even exist, right? But by me doing that, I'm bringing her a value that instead of just trying to extract something from her and trying to get something from her, and also because I don't want her to become attracted to me. So you need to disqualify yourself. That way when you go for hot friends later, she'll hand them to you on a silver platter. She'll talk you up. But if you try to game her, she'll become attracted to you, and then she'll either block off her friends, or when you do make the switch, you'll piss her off. The next term is social dead ends. Social dead ends are any guys that you know right now that have just read the game, that are now on your college campus running around peacocks and running 55 routines on campus. That is a social dead end. A social dead end is someone that kills just by mere association, his presence, they thin slice you together. They think, okay, if they must be a package deal. He must be like this guy. His mere presence kills your value. If you have a bunch of social dead ends, other social dead ends are like the really maybe a high value guy, but that like puts you down all the time or just destroys your value, right? So even though he in and of himself is high value, when you're around him, he puts you down so much that he crushes you, right? Let's see. Other problems with like a social dead is the kid that's just really miscalibrated. So you're trying to network, you're trying to work your way in. You're in some frat guy that you don't necessarily like, but he has really good parties. You're at his house, and you're trying to make that connection happen. And this kid's trying to out-alpha this guy, and he's trying to, like, I would say, don't outshine the master, right? So if you're in some frat guy's house and you want to get to know him, you don't want to be sitting there trying to hold court and take over the room, right? A lot of this stuff you read on boards is great, but you've got to learn to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. So you're in a room with a guy, you're trying to make a connection, don't outshine the master. You're not trying to impress him, you're trying to get access to his house so that you can get all the girls there, right? Who gives a fuck about impressing this guy? Let him feel like he's the shit. Does that make sense? If you've got a friend blasting that guy, though, it's ruining it. Okay. Another term is thin slicing. This comes from Malcolm Gladwell again. It's from Blink. And basically, it's rapid cognition. It means it's basically like making a snapshot judgment about people, right? Everybody does this, but it's like if you saw me walk in with an Uzi and a machete, you probably don't think I'm speaking next, right? but that's a thin slice. I might be speaking next. Does that make sense? If you see a guy in a three-piece business suit, then that guy's probably a business guy. That's a thin slice. It's a snapshot judgment. What happens if you walk into a party and you have 5 cute girls with you and 3 pre-selected cool guys? What's your thin slice? He must be one of the cool kids. What if you walk in with 5 dorks who are peacocked out like mystery, and you're at a college party, you look like an idiot? What's your thin slice? That you're an idiot. What happens if you dress like a kid that lived on a farm and wears clothes 2 years behind schedule? It's not that they don't like you or people will be mean to you, they thin slice you. So especially in a small fishbowl like college, you just get categorized. That's an ugly side of life, but it is what it is, right? So I'm not saying you gotta dress like everybody else or be like everybody else. I'm just saying that people just realize that people are thin slicing you and you get categorized like that. The next term, getting sticky, the sticky phase. In social circle game, okay, like the reason we have all these DHV stories and all these ways to demonstrate value when we do cold approach, like when I teach my normal boot camp, is because when I walk up to a girl and I'm cold approaching, I have 30 seconds to make some kind of impression, which will buy me a minute, which will buy me 2 minutes, which will buy me 5, which will buy me 10, which will buy me 30, right? In that 30 minutes, I need to show her I'm all these things, because it may be the one shot I've got. But in social circle, if you're going around trying to thread DHVs and all these stories, like in cold approach, I'm trying to jam value down her fucking throat. So I have 30 minutes, I need her to know everything, right? So we develop all these routines and all these ways to thread stories and to tell interesting stories. In social circle game, you don't need to do that. You need to become the DHV, right? You need to surround yourself. You need to become a badass thin slice. Does that make sense? Instead of running around trying to talk about how cool you are, you need to just be cool. So that other people are telling people how cool you are. You don't have a thin slice. You're going to get multiple encounters with this girl. So why would you try to blow your load in one hit, right? Let the buzz get created about you. So getting sticky, it's an old advertising term that says, for you to recognize Tylenol, you need to see and hear through some medium, whether it be advertising, on the radio or on TV or on a billboard. You need to see Tylenol 6 times before you finally go, headache, oh, Tylenol. You need some, you got a headache, here's some Tylenol. Does that make sense? Before you're sticky. Well, I just take that with social circle as well. Like, realize that when you first meet somebody, the sticky phase could be 1 encounter, it could be 50. A really high value girl that knows everybody and has a million friends, you may not know her until your third year of college, and you may have met her 20 times and she still doesn't know who the fuck you are. That's okay. Like, I'll get to the model here in a minute, but basically, I'm not gonna try to game her until I am sticky. Does that make sense? If she doesn't recognize me and I'm trying to like come in hot and trying to go sexual and make a bunch of jokes or try to push the attraction too far, and I'm not even on her radar yet, it's a mistake. It's a mistake I learned the hard way in college a lot, right?